Just a quick disclaimer, I tried microneedling before the hair transplant. This was in January 2019 and I had the transplant done in October 2021. What's good guys, hope everyone's doing well, and today's video is going to be on microneedling for hair loss, or derma rolling as it's called. Now microneedling was pushed massively by YouTube back in 2018, 2019. There was a lot of videos that had millions of views, and it was pushing this microneedling, which was supposedly a treatment for hair loss. Now I decided to give it a go. I did microneedling for a total period of a year. I did it once to twice per week, and over the course of that year, my results weren't great, to the point where I just give up and stopped doing it. However, there are a lot of things you do need to know about microneedling, some potential issues in the long run, hence why I'm making this video really. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Like I said at the start of the video, YouTube was pushing this massively back in 2018 and 19. Just from the sheer number of views it was getting, it was making you thinking, is this some type of secret hair loss treatment that we haven't tried yet? Was it going to regrow all your hair back? And unfortunately, this just isn't the case. It was giving you false hope. And I'm not knocking these videos, by the way. They are super interesting and really helpful, particularly Scott Gnarly's video. It's just that the algorithm was boosting it so much, it was giving you false hope of what it could actually do. I started in January 2019. I bought a 0.5mm derma roller, and I was derma rolling across my entire head, but specifically on my Norwood-free V-shaped hairline, receding hairline. And over the course of that year, what happened to me was my existing hair become thinner, and on the areas that I wanted to regrow hair, all that happened is I regrew very fine baby hair to the point where you couldn't even see from a distance. All that happened was I had very fine, thin baby hairs on the hairline. So although technically, yes, new hairs did sprout, they were so thin and they were so fine, you couldn't even tell. So I was putting myself, potentially causing damage, doing the microneedling, scar tissue, etc. All for having very thin, fine baby hair that you couldn't even see. Here you can see the baby hairs that it created, and as you can see here, they are just so thin, non-colour, wiry. The results just, they were so minuscule. Yes, there was hair there, but it's baby hair that just never become thick, proper hair. And from a distance, you couldn't even tell there was hair there. I still look bald. So the results were just so minuscule, it wasn't worth it for me to continue. And it didn't help the existing hair either. My hair become noticeably more thin and wiry. Wiry is probably the best word. My existing hair was becoming more wiry, and it just didn't look as strong. So the derma rolling didn't help my existing hair either. Another thing you need to be wary of is that derma rolling, particularly with the longer needle lengths, 1.5, 2mm, I've even seen 3mm on eBay. Those type of derma rollers can potentially cause scar tissue in the long run. So if you're thinking of having a hair transplant in the long run, those grafts may not be able to grow in as well. So it could affect the results of that. And to be honest, that really put me off. And it was to the point, it was the main reason, one of the main reasons why I stopped doing it, to be honest. It was a lot of hassle, it hurt, and it was something that was not giving me any results really. Bar thin, fine baby hairs, it wasn't giving me anything, and I was worried that it was going to affect my hair transplant result. I'm not saying it is going to do, but what I am saying is, if you're using longer needle lengths and you're doing it more often, you're damaging your scalp, you're making it bleed a lot, there is that potential for scar tissue. So that is something to be aware of when it comes to microneedling. Now, are there any positives to using microneedling for hair loss? In my opinion, guys, if I'm brutally honest, close to nil, very, very minimal. Microneedling is something that I kind of fell for and thought it'd do a lot more than what it actually did. All it did for me is make my existing hair thinner and create baby miniaturized hairs that you could barely even see unless you were up super close. So for me, it wasn't worth the hassle, and it just wasn't worth, the results were just nowhere near good enough to justify carrying on doing it. Now, can microneedling be useful for other things? Possibly. I've never used it on other parts of my body to comment really. The only thing I can say is for me hair, it just wasn't worth the hassle. The results were so minimal, it just wasn't worth pursuing. And I know people do use it with topicals, and the main thing I'd say with topicals is that, particularly minoxidil, you do have to remember that it is a blood pressure drug, and in my opinion it's one that just isn't worth the risk. It's one you should stay away from, and when it comes to other topicals, you never 100% know what's going into the the product, so just be careful when you are using topicals. And as for minoxidil, remember it is a blood pressure drug. And when it comes to what I actually do to maintain the hair transplant, the existing hair or stuff like that, I don't use any hair loss drugs. All I do is have a high protein diet, particularly eggs, 6 to 8 eggs a day. I have my biotin, zinc, magnesium, vitamin D, a multivitamin, and just generally try and maintain a healthy lifestyle. It does all help. Is it going to be a night and day difference? No, but it does maintain the quality of your hair and keep it up at the bare minimum. I hope that video's been helpful, and feel free to hit me down in the comment section below. If you've got any questions, I'm more than happy to reply.